Hi everybody, Wizard Terrence here. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just mostly interested in documenting my thoughts and my experiences, possibly for future reference if they need to collect data on a lot of cases. I've done my part. We've now confirmed pretty much those that are not afraid to look at the unknown. We can pretty confidently conclude that the human race is in possession of non-human made craft with non-human biologics, alive or dead. And I think that understanding who or what they are is important. And I tend to think they're multidimensional beings, possibly related to ancient religious texts, making them angels. And by definition, angels are alien to Earth. They weren't born on Earth or possibly in this realm, the third dimension, or anywhere else. I mean, we don't know exactly, but I have an experience with a few experiences in my life with angels, and maybe I'll just separate them across videos because it would take a long time to tell each story. So I'll start with one that I didn't recognize it for what it was until after, a while after what happened. But anyways, again, a lot of strange things happening in my teen years. I was, young guy living at home still. I went downstairs, had a house coat on because I just got up, late waking up like every other teen. And so I went to make like lunch. So I figured, all right, I'll make some craft dinner for lunch or whatever. So I put some noodles in a pot on the stove, but the pot didn't have a handle on it. So when it was ready, I went to pull it off the stove and put it onto the sink in between where the triangle is in between the two sinks. And I put a strainer in the sink and I was ready to pour the pot. I grabbed two oven gloves and went to pour that pot into the strainer. And I don't know that it slipped. For the longest time, I thought that it almost like it flipped back. So maybe it slipped back. I don't know. But I mean, it hit both my forearms and both my legs. And I mean, I jumped back. I had pretty good reflexes and I avoided most of it, but I got first, second, and third degree burns. And it felt like electricity shocking me when I received the burn. And my mother was in the living room and I was in the kitchen. It was semi-detached home. And I ran up to the washroom upstairs, and it was like an order of instructions going off in my head for myself on how to deal with the situation. And I thought, okay, I'll just get it under cold water right away. And so I got to go into the shower, and then I realized, well, the burns were initially cooled, but they started to heat, and it started to get worse and worse. And the colder the water didn't make any difference. It was still becoming excruciatingly painful. So I realized I'm going to have to get to the hospital, and I didn't have transportation at the time. So I yelled down to my mother, who didn't seem to notice the severity of what had happened. And I asked her to call my girlfriend's mother at the time to take me up to the hospital. And so I'm in the shower and I'm trying to keep the shower cold water coming down, mostly on my legs, but trying to get all of it. And so I realized, okay, my mother said that my girlfriend's mother had arrived in the driveway. And I realized, okay, I got to get to the hospital, but how am I going to keep this cool? I can barely keep the pain away under cold water. So before that I had realized, okay, I'll plug the tub because maybe I'll be able to sit down in this and soak it for a bit. But I realized I didn't have the time, so then I called and asked for help. And then when she arrived, I just grabbed the towel, threw it in whatever water had collected in the tub, and then picked the towel up and ran downstairs. I wrapped the wet towel around the worst burn, which was on my right upper thigh, and I ran down to the car, and we're going uh, to the hospital, and there was a lot of traffic, and the sunlight coming through the window. I went to check on the burn, and I'm like, oh man, like I do not want my skin shifting or healing in any type of damaged way. So I I peeked under the the towel, and and the sunlight hitting it was just like, oh my god, like it was like so painful. So I immediately, like, I tried to, the skin was shifting, and so I was trying to straighten it out in case it healed, it would heal as flat as possible. And I wrapped the towel back up. I went into the front of the hospital. I had my wallet, and I basically threw it at the front desk, and I walked through this, the, back then they were just automatic doors slid open, and there was about 4 or 5 nurses standing around behind a desk. I guess there was downtime or whatever. And I said, I've been burned. I've been burned. I'm like I was like I was hyperventilating, and they go, what type of burn was it? And they said, okay, come this way. And it was like right across the hall that they had a bed there, and they had a cabinets in that room, and I guess they could treat people there right away as quick as they could. But I laid down on the bed, and they're all opening cabinets looking for sterilized water, nets and gauze and whatnot, but there was no sterilized water. I think they found a couple of items of gauze, and one by one, the 4 or 5 of them had left the room. And I'm looking up. I didn't say anything. I just looked up because at the time I was a big atheist, and I had, I called into radio shows challenging. I think one was called Talking with the Pastors or whatever, and I was challenging their views, and how could God be real? I mean, if he created the earth with his hands and we're made in the image of God, then he would have to be bigger than the earth and bigger than the universe, and it just didn't make sense to me at that age. So I was laying there on the bed, and I just looked up, and I said in my head, look, I know I've denied you, and you don't have to prove yourself to me, but if you are real, and you would help, then I don't want to feel any pain, and I don't want to have any scars. So all of a sudden, one girl came into the room who wasn't with the others, and she walked up to the side of the bed. She had one bottle with her, and none of this dawned on me at the time. I was hyperventilating to the point where I was shaking uncontrollably, like I was shaking, and they had to push the bed back and lock the wheels again. And she came up to the side, and with deliberate messaging, like as if she was trying to get a point across without actually revealing anything, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Feels like heaven, doesn't it?" And that's all she said. As she poured the water from the top of my right thigh down to the thigh, and the pain, I swear, it just washed away. And I thought, okay, it's going to come rushing back, because I've been waiting a little bit to cool it since I got out of the car, and it never did. It never came rushing back or anything, and maybe the nerves had died underneath or something. I don't know, but that bottle of water was the last time I felt pain. And she quickly left the room. She didn't say only those words. She didn't say anything else. She went to leave the room, and as soon as she did, those 4 or 5 other nurses came rushing back in the room. They had armfuls of supplies, nets, gauze, water bottles, purified water, and they came in and they started treating it. And they treated all of it, and then they said, okay, the doctor will be in. The doctor came in. He said, okay, you have first, second, third degree burns. And I'm like, oh my god, like, okay, am I going to scar, or am I going to feel any, like, is this, how bad is this going to be for pain? He says, well, we'll give you some Tylenol 3s with codeine or something like that, and then you'll probably take a few summers of sun tanning, but you'll always have some scars there. And I'm like, oh man, okay, well, it is what it is. So I I did, I went home and it was a matter of maybe a month, and pretty much all of it was gone. And then it was, I don't know how long after that. It's what, quite a while ago, decades ago. But after that, I mean, I haven't got, it was both my forearms, like this arm here, my other arm that's holding the camera, both my legs. And there's not a spot of anything there. No scars whatsoever, no pain from that moment on. And I had made a deal, and I believe, and in my mind, that was an angel. I realized after, I go, that must have been an angel, because in my mind I was asking for help. Somebody shows up with a single bottle of sterilized water, but that bottle removed all the pain where the shower or anything else wouldn't do it. And then that person, I think that was an angel in the hospital, they walk among us. She only brought one bottle. If there's water needed, and yet she wasn't with them. So she came in when they left and left before they got back. And she had that one bottle, and that was it. Like, that's all I needed. And I made a full recovery. So I can't deny God. In fact, I went looking for God, and that's a whole nother story. And I believe I found it. It's a creative life force, and it manifests itself in different ways. And it exists not just here on Earth. It exists at the farthest reaches, unimaginable distances in the universe. It is working to create there. And yeah, there is other life in the universe, and there's reasons for that as well. In fact, there's a good chance that the human race wasn't only placed on Earth. There's a good chance that it has been around a very, very long time, that it traverses the universe, and we have learned to become technological with the elements that we have here on Earth, and we are doing what naturally we are inclined to do, is to traverse the stars. So it's almost like they were a seed blowing through the universe. We land on the planets that are hospitable for human life. We learn about the environment. We grow knowledge, and we become more and more technological to the point we can leave that planet and start seeding other planets. And that's exactly what we're doing, because that's our nature. We're, as humans, we're, if you look at what we did here on Earth in a short amount of time, since the dawn of real technology, which is probably, I mean, people argue the wheel and whatnot, but real technology, like since 1950. And since then, I mean, look what they're doing, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and NASA, and just all the technologies we have, including what I'm using right now in my hand, and the ability to design computers so small. And then computers design. It's an exponential explosion, and it comes from us. That's who we are, and that's why we clash with nature here on Earth, because it's not our indigenous planet, in my opinion. Our indigenous home is somewhere else in the universe, and we've been around a long time, and that doesn't detract from God, or creation or evolution. I think creation can evolve, but evolution does not negate creation. I'm very much in belief that there's an intelligence, a life force, other people call God, and that they experienced that life force in different ways all around the planet. And because the human mind, or the human behavior on the planet, I mean, just leaving world wars and whatnot, is kind of like a 5-year-old. So they still fight over who's right, country to country or religion to religion. Our God is right. No, our God is right. And they don't realize, and actually it was Tom DeLonge recently put together basically the same conclusion, that if you took all of the experiences that our brothers and sisters on the planet have made all around the world, all the experiences they've had with God, you would have a better picture of God instead of focusing on one view of God and in one place. God exists not just here on earth, but permeates the entire universe. There's argument to be said that if particles are aware in quantum physics and quantum mechanics, that if they're able to detect human observation, is that a level of intelligence, or are we somehow influencing the behavior of those particles? For those that know about the quantum slit experiment, if it's intelligence and it's recognizing your observation and it's everywhere, then that might be a form of God. So I think as conversations start moving around towards Elizondo saying, some will turn to God, some will turn away from God, you really have to ask somebody in his position with his knowledge and probably a really good understanding of what this really represents, and the talk about 2027 and an event coming, and that really, it sounds like that event that somebody's aware of, apparently the former CIA John Ramirez spoke about, is a catalyst towards a 10-year disclosure plan ending from 2017 to 2027. It sounds like the harder information will come into the later years of that 10-year block, so as not to create disruptions in supply chain or global panic. But the sooner they educate us, the better prepared we are to have that solemn or somber moment Elizondo speaks about, as we have a day of inner reflection and start looking at ourselves. So we're not just talking about what we think are aliens from somewhere else, or whether these beings have been on the planet the whole time. Probably have, whatever these things are. They're non-human, they're intelligent, and they're building technologies that are eons ahead of us. I mean, some would argue 100 years, some would argue thousands of years, but we know one thing for sure: it's way ahead of us, and it's been here a long time. So if our brothers and sisters of ancient past had recorded in religious texts that these beings were sent down to earth, cast out of heaven, the fallen ones would be here, if that's true. And I'm pretty sure a lot of religions speak about similar stories. But if that is true, then I think we're forgetting about the possibility that it's not just the bad ones that are here. If the earth is the cradle for the sons and daughters or princes and princesses of the Creator, of God, the King, then there will be those watching the cradle, making sure the snakes don't sneak in at night. And sometimes they're successful. So I know this has been kind of here and there, hit and miss, kind of going everywhere. I'm trying to jam in a lot of information in a short period of time, and I'm overtired right now. It's been a long day. So I just want to say some of that, and I think we should support all the Congress people that are working towards bringing this information out, and getting the truth out to the people, because why deny? I mean, if there's a possibility that's true and you have reputable people telling you that it's true, then let's find out if it is. Why make a assumption that it's not, with the possibility that you may be missing out on a very great truth or an opportunity to prepare yourself? So why would you cheat yourself of that? Denying something because you don't believe it and putting your head in the sand because maybe you fear it is not doing yourself any justice. I'll make other videos as things come up. I think I have another one in mind, but it's just things I want to say as an experiencer, and I have other videos talking about those experiences. But this is serious, and I think as time goes on, in a very short period of time, there'll be an announcement. But before 2027, information's going to get harder and clearer. All right, this is Wizard Terrence. Have a good day. Bye.